Welcome back to Working Title FC. Now, today's episode and future episodes are going to be a little bit different to what we normally do because this episode is part of Podcastathon, a global initiative where podcasters around the world dedicate an episode of their show to highlighting a charity, a cause, or people doing meaningful work in their communities. The idea behind Podcastathon is simple. Podcasts have reach, and if enough of us use that reach to shine a light on good work being done around the world, we can help some incredible initiatives get the attention they deserve. And today we're doing exactly that. My guest is Coach Jack, the founder of Corinthians Football Club, a community-driven football project here in South Africa that started about 14 years ago when Jack began organizing informal street football for young people in his neighborhood, partly to keep kids busy, but more importantly, to give them an alternative to the gangs, drugs, and crime that can easily pull young people in the wrong direction. What started as a few games in the street has grown into something much bigger and more meaningful. In recent years, Jack has also become one of the driving forces behind the growth of blind football in South Africa, a small-sided version of the game played by visually impaired athletes, governed internationally by the International Blind Sports Federation, and played at the Paralympic Games. And despite very limited resources, a small but passionate community is now building a blind football league in South Africa with teams traveling across provinces just for the chance to play. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about how it all started, how blind football actually works, and why football can still be one of the most powerful tools for community, opportunity, and inclusion. Working Title FC presents our conversation with Coach Jack. Football podcasts are very negative. They're all about clickbait and rage baiting. And we want to kind of go into a space where we're like about positivity and the fringes of soccer that make us remember why we love football. So I think just your story and what you guys are doing plugs so nicely. So I hope this is the start of something long-term because, our like I say, we want to do good stuff and talk to cool people and just, get away from the rage baiting stuff and kind of like get people to rediscover why we love football, that it's beyond the money making and all that. So tell us first about blind football. We can call it blind football, correct? And tell us just a bit about it. Like, I think we've all seen it around somewhere, but tell us about the game, the rules, how many a team, the ball. Just give a bit of a background on the actual game itself.
Yeah. So blind football is a beautiful sport, and it's basically football played by blind people. And that's the first thing that people must understand. It's football played by blind people. So the setting is a futsal setting where it's usually 5-a-side. The goalkeeper can be sighted. And the beauty of blind football is that you have people who can't see scoring against a goalkeeper that can see. And that for me is still a remarkable feat in and of itself. I mean, the goalkeeper is usually a professional goalkeeper. So you try to get your best goalkeeper, Paulo, that can save, right? But you have these guys who can't see nothing, right? Because you have variation of blindness. So you have your B1s and usually you have your B2s. In your international games, it's usually your B1. So B1 meaning you're fully blind. You can't see anything, right? B2 means you're partially sighted, right? And so to make it equal, what they've done is they've brought in eye patches and then you have goggles. So either you B1 or you B2, you can't see anything. And then the ball's got bells inside, right? So when they're playing by hearing. Everything is just by hearing. So the ears become the eyes, right? The movement of the ball. Then they've got 3 technical guides, right? So the first guide is the goalkeeper who guides the defense zone and can only speak to the defense zone. The second guide is the coach who can only speak to the midsection zone. He can't speak to anyone else except for halftime. Right? And then on the opposite end, where you score behind the goalkeeper, there is the guide who's guiding the striker who only speaks to the forward zone where to score. It's going to sound a bit complicated, but then it's just football. Then you have like your 2 referees working in conjunction. And then whenever you're going for the ball, you need to say voy. Voy meaning, hey, I'm coming. So there's less clashes happening. One of the things we always teach players when they come into blind football is to stretch out your hands, right? So it creates a shield and it builds confidence. So you're not bumping into people because that could be very dangerous. So when you're playing, you'll see a lot of times players are using their hands, right? And I tell you, man, it's the beautiful game. It's like having Messi times 4 on the pitch because the ball's in between the legs. And so you have to move the ball in between the legs when you're moving. And that's how you move forward in blind football. Beautiful sport.
And the rules, I imagine, majority are similar to football. How long is a half?
Sure. One half is 15 minutes.
Okay.
When you play, like your bigger games can go to 20. Then you have stoppage time. You can ask for a stoppage time of 1 minute per half per team. And then it's your 5 minute break. And then boom, voila.
So
yellow cards, red cards, everything.
You know, the thing you said about the scoring against a sighted keeper, it's even because now you got somebody telling him where you're going to shoot and he's still letting in goals, right? So that's great. So then how big is the game? How big is
that's a good one.
Right?
That's a good one, Paulo, when you think about it, because the goalkeeper is not only sighted, the technical guide is behind the goalkeeper. So when you are now telling the other guy, shoot right, the goalkeeper more likely can. That's if it's not a different country, right?
Sure.
Or it's a different coach. But if you think about it, if English is the predominant language in the game, and the guy is like, no, go right, but the guy still score.
That's it. And how big is the game around the world? Because you come across it, you see it every now and again pop up. But I mean, is it FIFA recognized? How big does it get?
Blind football's massive. It's been around since 1950. Started by the Spanish, and Brazilians adopted it and grew. It's endorsed and governed by FIFA. Then there's a body that governs blind football for people with disabilities. It's called IPSA, which is the International Blind Sports Association. So they govern blind football. And it's been around for a long time. There's Grand Prix for blind football. There's World Cups for blind football. There's the African Championship for blind football. It's really fairly new in the southern hemisphere of Africa. And so this is where we started it 3 years ago, and now it's grown with prominence. And this is where we've established a league, where we had 4 teams. Now we have 6. Now we have teams coming all the way from Limpopo. Now I'm getting calls from Kuruman in the Northern Cape. I mean, we had our preseason game 2 weeks ago, and we had a team travel 6 hours from Limpopo to play their first ever blind football game. And without any resources, they mobilized their communities. They organized their own transport. It was funny because they came there with their EFF regalia. It was the funniest thing. They didn't have a soccer kit. They actually come from the hometown of Julius Malema.
Right.
Actually, it's very interesting. So you have these blind folks coming with EFF regalia, and you're like, what's happening here? And they're just all blind. But those guys could play because they played against Corinthians, who won the league, and they were dominating Corinthians 4-1 in halftime. The first half, they were winning by 4 goals. So when they play in Limpopo, they actually use bottles. So they put like stones inside bottles. And they play like that every single day. They remind me of the Brazilians who play on the favelas. Because we played against Brazil when we were at the BRICS games in Russia. And the Brazilians were sharing how they play blind football on the favelas. Favelas, Paulo, I'm sure you would know, is the townships that side, right? And it's on an upper hill type of thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play on the favelas being sighted, my brother. I don't trust those roof aluminium zinc tops. They play like that blind, right? So these guys from Limpopo play blind football every day, and they're like, we heard you started a league. So they traveled 6 hours. They were dominating Corinthians 4-1 in the first half. Then Corinthians came back and won the game, right? But that story for me is beautiful. Then afterwards, they had to travel another 6 hours. And that's just for a preseason game. And that's the growth of blind football in South Africa.
So tell me about your involvement and Corinthians. So Corinthians, is it a full football club, male and football teams, or is it just blind football? And then how did you get involved?
So Corinthians, I started 14 years ago. I never planned to start a soccer team. At that time, it was a soccer team. I happened to drop out of Monash University, so that's close to you in the West Rand, in Reinsig, right? So I'm a KS boy. Went to KS, then I went to Monash. Unfortunately, I had to drop out due to financial reasons, but that became a blessing in disguise because being a statistic of unemployment in the time, I had nothing else to do but to play football with my younger brother. And then I was approached by a group of gents who wanted to play street soccer. And obviously being older than them, and they were part of a gang, they were shipping drugs. So they left their spot to come play soccer in South Hills, which has got quite hectic gangs now. So South Hills, I don't know if you know it. You know South Hills, like to your Westbury, Eldorado Park. And so you have these colored boys pulling up and playing. So obviously I was older and I could play football then very well. So I could dribble them around the world, Shibobo, Spy 2, 1, 2, So they were blown away and they were like, dude, can you coach us? All right. And they're like, we don't like chilling in the corner, but we want to play football. And the kids were good. And so they needed a coach, and they came back the next day. They brought 4 other gents. We had 9, and they took them to a park, opened up in prayer. And I just found myself just really imparting into the lives of these kids. And I was just so passionate because I'd been exposed. You know, when you go to good schools like Cares and you go to Monash, you get exposed that there's so much more outside in the world, right? And you come back into the hood, you're like, no, man, there's something better. And when you talk to these gents and you just use Ronaldo and Messi as an example of working hard, making your bed, saying please, saying thank you, they listen to you. You know, there's a certain power that you have. Even now, when I go to South Hills, some of the gents are in gangs, be it they drinking, they smoking, or holding a gun, they put it behind themselves. Because the element of holding a soccer ball became a sense of authority in their lives. And I became a father figure. So little did I realize that I was doing something called Ubabalo, which is whole life coaching, where the coach is not just really developing them physically, but the coach is a father figure to them. And so I had kids coming from Wits, I had kids coming from Jomo, I had kids coming from Sporting, coming to play in a park. Why we were not just interested in developing them physically. There was the spiritual element, there was the emotional, the mental, there was like checking on the academics, going into the flats, checking how they're doing. That was the birthing of Corinthians. And I happened to find myself reading the book of Corinthians because I was going through a tough time, which is biblical. And the Apostle Paul talks about being strong when he's weak. So I never understood it, but over time I understood that when we are weak, we are forced to depend on God, and that becomes our sense of strength, rather than when we do things by ourselves. And so that's where the name Corinthians came from. But at the time, it was South Hills Corinthians. So there's a football club, and it spread. It became a movement because I started discipling new coaches. So we couldn't find land where we could play. We were charged 3,000 Rand. And the people who were giving into what we were doing were guys in a tavern by the park who were playing. And I'm always grateful. Even when I speak in corporate, I always say our first CSI were the drunkards in a tavern by a pub. Abu Baba giving us 5 Rand, giving us 10 Rand, giving us 20 Rand. And we're proud of that. You know, they really gave in. And so we started protesting, wanting a facility, but we didn't burn down, we didn't march. Our form of protest in our ward councillor always shares about this. We started closing off the main roads in our community and started having street soccer games.
Amazing.
Right? And then they started calling JMPD on us. They kind of started calling SAPS Morford View on us. And they started looking for me. So then I understood that the police don't have much resources. We knew it very much. So we said, how do we beat them? We're going to have street soccer tournaments. We're going to invite DJs. We're going to invite the whole community. I mean, soccer is a draw card. Man. Who's never going to come to a soccer game? Yeah. And so we started hosting it in all the major roads, and we frustrated the city of Johannesburg. And till today, they remember me, so they'd call me troublemaker. We frustrated them. And so the ward councillor for a long time never liked me. We made her leadership and her ward ungovernable, you know, but it was smart because they couldn't catch us, right? The community defends you. Yeah, which street are you going to find them? It's a movement. We're closing off all the major roads. To the point where she asked for a meeting and I thought she's trapping me. And unfortunately, at that time, I lost my mom. It was 2018. And so I'd slowed down with Corinthians and I said, I'm going to stop with community work. We hadn't registered as an NPO or anything. It was just really passion. And she said, hey, dude, listen, we need you to come back. And I'm not here to get you back for anything. We have a facility for you. Wow. And it's in Rosettenville. We want to give it to you. And usually it's supposed to go out on tender and so on and so forth. We feel with the work that you've done, you'd be the best person to lead the youth in our community. I mean, Corinthians that time was explosive. Still is the biggest soccer team in Joburg South. I'm talking bigger than Jomo Cosmos, bigger than Sporting, bigger than Dean Hill. We're talking hundreds to thousands of kids in parks, running all over parks. And so once I stopped, a lot of those kids fell back into the gangs, fell back to drugs, and a lot of those things. And they said, dude, you need to come back. You need to come back. So I'd lost my mom, I was a bit hurt. So I said no when she offered to give me a facility. So she came back the next day. She was smart. She brought some Afrikaner oaks, Johan, brought Abo Gogo, and brought some pastors. And then the Gogo started singing there. I was staying in a back room. I started singing some gospel songs there to make me feel guilty. And they just said, come and see the facility. And when we went and looked at the facility, it was a mess. And they said, look, we'll give you the keys. We'll give you the lease. Take over. Prayed about it. Spoke to my family and I decided, look, let's give it a shot. But I was like, God, why do you keep calling me into this thing? I never planned to start this thing. Somehow it always follows me. And this was now 7 to 8 years in Corinthians. We took up the facility, and someone paid for me to go to University of Pretoria.
Wow.
Study theology. Met a few people there, Stefan de Beer. And I started reimagining the facility and saying, how can we use this facility to change a community? Rosettenville is known for drugs, human trafficking, the worst that you can think of. Car theft, hijacking, the worst, right? And we started reimagining the facility, and I started being approached by people. Like someone would come to me and say, look, I want to start netball. I was like, okay, here's space, start netball. There's a young man, he's David Stroud. He used to be on drugs. He's like, I love cricket. Can I start cricket? I said, here's space. And what Corinthians started representing is a space where we create platforms for the solutions in our community. We didn't have to invent anything, just give people the platform to do what people are called to do. And then there were two blind kids who came, and we were big now. We've renovated the place, we've grown. And they rocked up and they said, hey, Chief, this is around 2021. We want to play soccer. So in Corinthians, we have different types of activities. Yeah. Corinthians is big. We draw 5,000 plus people per month, right? So we have the Africa Games that we host every single Sunday. All the African nationalities in Rosettenville come and play. We have JMPD versus community, SAPS versus community. So we use it to build a social cohesion with law enforcement, and it strengthens law enforcement in our community. 100%. Blind kids were coming every Sunday, and one was fully blind, the other one was partially sighted. And they came and they tapped me and they're like, are you Coach Jack? Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So a lot of people know me. And they're like, hey, yeah, we heard that you, the guy who runs here, and that you are a coach. You well known. Can you coach us? And we want to play. In fact, they didn't say coach us. They said, can you put us in a team? We want to play. In my mind, I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, what the frick, bro? These guys can't see. Paulo, I'm like, what the frick, man? These guys can't see. They want to play soccer. I mean, you have these Nigerian dudes who are playing, and Cameroonian dudes, they're massive.
Yeah.
And I've got these two very small, blind kids who want to go, roughly the age is like 18, 19, 20. They want to go and play against those Nigerian dudes, bro. Those guys are big, and they can't even see, right? And I was just looking at them, and I was just like, yeah, guys, yeah, no, I'll get back to you, right? So these guys were persistent, man. They kept on coming every single week, Paulo, like every week, man, every week. And they're like looking for me. And the weird thing is they can't see, but they kept on finding me. Well, I don't know, partially sighted.
Look, I imagine, listen, I've been speaking to you for a couple of minutes now. I really think I would follow you anywhere, but I also think I would find you everywhere because you emitting something. I mean, we're talking to each other over a screen, and I'm going, wow, this dude is somebody. You come into this with one perception, and I think you're quite changing everything that I kind of came into this conversation about. So these guys seek you out, they find you, they're drawn to you because I assume you have a magnetism. It seems that you do. Yeah. They pull themselves towards you, and at what point, you're a man of faith, obviously. Was it prayer that guided you to create the team, or what then got you that next step?
Yeah, man, I think for 2 months they were persistent. They remind me of the story of the woman with the issue of blood in the Bible who seeks the garment of Jesus in the midst of hundreds of people in a crowd, and she was persistent and she had faith. These guys had faith. And I always say that I did not start blind football. They started blind football. Yeah. I had no interest. I didn't even know about blind football. The very thought that they would suggest to play blind football, being blind, I was like, this is ridiculous, bro. How are you going to play? And I always attributed to those two gents, And one day I saw them going to the house, and I was going out, and somehow we saw each other. And the other one can't see. The other one's partially sighted. This was like this. And I was just hooting at them, and they entered into a house. And I was convicted, man. I was just like, okay, maybe blind football, maybe we can give it a shot. Maybe there's something. And then I started researching about it. And then I found blind football is a real thing. It exists. It's big in Europe. It's big in South America. It's big in Asia. Not so big in Africa, but it's there. And then I tried to inquire from SAFA. They were like, what are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? I'm like, guys, like you guys govern football in the country. surely there's something for blind football. They're like, nope, we don't know about what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, who's heading sports for disability?
Yeah.
They're like, look, we've tried blind football in the Western Cape with UCT. We couldn't. We tried it for a week and stuff. Couldn't make it work, and it stopped. And even there, they didn't have a lot of blind people showing up. So they were just doing some form of experiment or expo or something about it. So I'm like, okay, guys, there's no one who does blind football in this country. Like, who can help me here, Then I was like, I used to be a volunteer at Johannesburg Society for the Blind. I used to help them in the lab, and it's down the road from me. And then I started praying about it. Then I was like, okay, maybe next year I can pitch blind football. It's ridiculous, but why not, And then come February, I went to the Johannesburg Society for the Blind, shared it with the principal. She was like, what? Are you crazy? Are these kids going to break themselves? She's like, look, I know about goal ball, but I don't know about blind football. I was like, look, I've done the research. Trust me. And she's like, but you don't have the equipment. You don't have sponsors. I'm like, look, one thing I do have is faith. I always say we'll start and it'll find us along the way. So she said, speak to the guys in the hall. And she called the whole school. So it's the Johannesburg Society for the Blind. So you have like everyone, even the Gokos and Kulus, all these people that have lost their eyesight with it. And I'm pitching this idea. And I remember it just like yesterday. That room, after just pitching that idea, it's mixed emotions, man. There's excitement, there is confusion, there is nervousness, there is like, what the frick is this guy on about? And then I had my first cohort of players sign up. There were 5. And similar to how I started Corinthians. And then I said, Oaks, listen, we will start our first training session on a Wednesday, but we're not going on a pitch.
Yeah.
We're going to do something called storytelling.
Right.
And I came in there and we made a circle and we started sharing our stories.
Amazing.
And it touches me till today. And I think that's what's anchored me till today. I never rushed to get them on a pitch. It's like Avatar. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Avatar.
Yeah.
When you have to connect with the flying thing, the Navi, when you have to connect, I don't know what's it called, that flying dragon look-like thing. The tails has to connect and the first bond determines. So that was my first bond with them. And, man, the stories touched my heart. And I would have thought I've been through life. When you hear the worst thing, it's not being born blind, but losing your eyesight.
Sure. Yeah.
You share the story of Bonga, who for instance was he had a family, had a business, had everything, and got into a truck accident, lost his eyesight. They took the kids, they took everything, wife left, then he was shipped into the society. Pakisa, how he fell, lost his eyesight, and you're just like, just to be able to see, man, you become grateful. People lost their eyesight, their lives changed. They lost their businesses, they lost their marriages, they lost their kids. And then I think I was convicted to make it work. And we started dreaming, and we said, what's our dream for this team? That time, IPSA had the Birmingham Games 2020. Was it 2023 or 2?
Yeah.
We were dreaming about going to the UK and playing there. There's no resources, it's nothing. And we had a dream. And then we had our first session. We had COVID masks because it was post-COVID. We used COVID masks. And then I went to ShopRite. I went to the dustbin. I took 7 plastic bags. Then I took a normal soccer ball. I put it in a plastic bag so that it makes a sound when you play. But here's what's interesting now, Paulo. There's something that's missing. Do you know what it is?
What's missing?
There's the 2 gents who approached me. They are missing. So now I go look for those 2 gents.
Okay.
And I go to that house where the last time I saw them. And I'm now inquiring about them. And guess what happens, Paulo? I ask about the 2 gents, and the lady who comes out is like, what are you talking about? There's no blind people who stay here. I was like, no, there's 2 gents who came in here, and surely they stay here. She's like, no, go to the back room. So I went to the back rooms and I inquired, and they're like, there's no blind people. I was like, okay, shut. But I'm like, I'm definitely sure they went into this house. And I'm sure they've been coming into this house. So then I went next door. No. The house before. No. I went to the whole street. There's a few kids that I know because I do youth at church. They come with me to youth at church. And I was like, there's no blind people in the street.
What are you
Stay here.
talking about?
So then I went into the other block, but I'm like, guys, they stay here. They even told me they stay here. And then I inquired the whole block. In fact, I inquired around. There's no blind people that stay around there. Came back and I inquired with the caretaker Nyabang. And I asked them about it. And I'm like, you remember there's like two guys who came to me for the past 2 months? Surely you as a caretaker would have seen it. He's like, so he says, boss, there's a lot of people who come here. I didn't see any two blind people. So one of the mysteries that we have with blind football is that till today, no one has seen those two blind kids except for me.
No way. You're kidding me.
I'm telling you.
That is unreal.
I'm telling you.
That is unreal. You know, I came into this with very rudimentary questions for you. And I think you have just taken me in a completely different direction because, you know, I wanted to ask you how do you coach somebody in blind football, but you actually connect with the mind, you coach with the mind and the heart first, right? Because if the mind and heart is there, they're going to figure everything out. I was going to, you know, what do you talk to anybody about? Well, if they're scared to play, but you've kind of broke that down of going, you know, even the teacher at the Blind Society go, well, what if they get hurt? And you kind of went for the approach of like, yeah, maybe that's what they want, or let's not shelter them or mollycoddle. It's like they can do normal things. And I think that that's so powerful about you, that you're led by something that's kind of out of the physical, that's not constrained by what we think, kick a ball, you know, run here, move here, whatever. You're connecting through other ways. And I mean, are you so you convinced these two blind, the partially sighted and the blind guy, they're messengers. I mean, this is, like I say, you're a man of faith. What's your explanation for it? Or you just accept that, well, it was meant to be?
Still one of the toughest questions, and it's a question that you're asking me. What do I think they are? I have not concluded till today. It's an out-of-body experience. You read about it in the Bible, but when you experience it yourself, I mean, it sounds very hypocritical, where you believe God for the supernatural, but when he does the supernatural, then you're just like, what the frick, bro?
Right, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And it's there in the Bible. I always say that each to his own. When I share it with people, the African spiritualists will say it's the ancestors who were there with you, and they were the ones who enabled you to start. Others will say, someone said to me, but what if they were abducted?
That's your cynic, right? Yeah.
The cynics will say, no, they were abducted, you know. Some will say it was my subconscious mind, but I really doubt that my subconscious would be so strong for 2 months to see people coming into a facility and be so convicted to do something. Geez, clearly then I'm high on something, you know. But is it God aligned? Definitely. And it convicts me. And I think for me, the question has always been not whether who they from, but the responsibility they've entrusted me with.
Yeah.
And am I doing a good job with that which I've been entrusted with? And so I always try my best to be accountable and responsible, that the day they do return, I don't know from where, maybe from the clouds, they'll reappear again. It's like a whole Dragon Ball Z series that's going to happen. That I can say that, Oaks, you entrusted me with this. You could have gone to anyone, but clearly you saw something in me for me to carry this. And look, blind football has come with a lot of challenges. You can just imagine. But I think that gravitas, that stubbornness, that will, and more from God to not give up, and to say that there's two gents who believed in this. And now you have 6 teams. You have institutions like SA Blind and the National Council for the Blind Society. You have hundreds and thousands of blind people hearing about blind football and reaching out. You have the whole country. You have people in Botswana. We have people in Botswana reaching out. Who would have thought that 2 blind people would lead a movement that's probably now reaching millions? There's 2 million blind people in this country. And majority are youth. And blind football is now the go-to sport. So, yeah.
So it feels like it's not a series of challenges that you guys have. It's just, there seems to be this divine path that you're on. Where does this path take you guys next? So you grew from 4 teams, you got 6 teams, you're getting players, you guys are representing South Africa. Where do you want to take your team, your football club, and these players? What's the next step?
the beauty of sports, and people never got it. I think Madiba got it. Madiba speaks to something and he articulates and uses sports as an example. He says sports has the power to change the world. He didn't even say education. He said sports, right? He could have said anything else. He could have said business. He said sports, right? And I think it was his realization of coming from the Rugby World Cup when South Africa won, and he was with Francois Pienaar, and it was in time of apartheid, how people of different races, cultures, and backgrounds were united. That's what rugby does. I don't know if you've seen rugby, Paulo. Springboks play, be it in Soweto, in Sandton. You see the diversity and the beauty of South Africa, rich and poor, come together. Madiba saw that, but he also saw what sports represents. It was not more of what happens on the pitch or on the court. It's what the opportunities that can be presented from it. So one of the things we want to do with blind football, and we are doing, is last year we started partnering with some of the learnerships, and we got 5 of the young people employed through a learnership.
Amazing.
And they're getting jobs. I mean, majority of these guys, 90% of them are unemployed. One of them just had a child. Can't survive on 2,000 rand per month to raise a child. How do you raise a family when you're blind? It's nothing, So we want to create opportunities economically and get them. It's part of our vision. It's actually our vision is APE, awareness, creating platforms and the economic inclusivity of blind people as well. And so we want to see them being part of the economy and creating opportunities. We now have blind commentators.
I saw that story. I believe they went out to America. They are doing the most amazing work. And again, 2 young guys had a passion for something and are just shooting the lights out.
Yeah, they haven't gone to the States. We just started with them 2-3 weeks ago. Okay. And these guys have always had a passion for commentary. So they always listen to Kozi FM, which is a radio station, which is, I think, is the biggest in the country.
The world?
And I've known Spusiso Lukeli for 5 years.
Okay.
He's not the best of blind football players. He's not. But he shows up to every training session, right? And this guy sits there and he's just commentating and he shows up, he plays in his pajamas. I don't know. I still don't get how that guy shows up every training session in pajamas. So he then brings his brother Mduduzi, and his brother also comes with pajamas. I've never understood those guys, and they're fully blind, by the way. These Oaks have a passion for blind football that is, it's crazy. And so today we had guys coming from this year already. We had guys coming from Germany. Yeah. So one of the things blind football is doing is, and I can truly say that we are contributing to the economy of South Africa. I don't even have an anchor donor. People all over the world are now coming to South Africa for blind football.
Amazing.
It's interesting.
Unreal.
So we had these guys from Germany and Hamburg coming through. We have guys from America pulling up. We have guys from Czech Republic coming in the next 2 weeks. And they're just finding out on the internet. And it's just like, hey, we coming, want to see this, man. They're booking into hotels. They're coming, they want to check this whole thing, have an experience. They live streaming like speed. It's like a whole crazy thing. And so we came up with the idea of, let's give these guys a platform. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Let's have blind commentators. These guys are gifted.
Unreal.
They're brilliant, right? And then someone was like, but they can't see.
Listen, I don't want to be disparaging, but I think some of the commentary will be better than what you're hearing. some can't be worse.
Look, Paulo, you need to listen to these Oaks.
Yeah.
These Oaks are brilliant. And I feel these Oaks, for me this year, my thing is to get them at least into like the PSL or MDC to commentate. And so they said, Jack, and I said, guys, if we could get people to play soccer not being able to see, what's blind commentary? There's nothing that could stop us.
That's it.
So we then started working on how could we get them to get the information and just to articulate it, right? So we came up with different types of things. So we then decided, look, we'll get headsets connected to an amplifier. Then someone else would have headsets and then it'd be like transmitted. That was too expensive. And then we said, okay, let's use an amplifier transmitter. So someone promised to give us those things. We had our preseason game. They didn't bring that.
Right.
So we didn't have an amplifier. We didn't have a transmitter. We only had 3 headsets. And that's all. So I was like, okay, sharp. My phone has got unlimited airtime.
Right.
What I can do is I'll call Simo. Simo, you're good at speaking, right? You will then watch. You will speak over the phone. They will connect through Bluetooth on the phone. They will hear, and then they will basically articulate what you are saying from what you see. We tried it out. First game was not so good. The guys are struggling because they need to bond with blind people. It's all about bonding.
Yeah.
Right? We need to connect with you. So first game, it was their first time. Man, Paulo, come the second game, my brother. I need to send you some of those videos.
Amazing.
Man. If you can see Mosiso Lukeli and you can see Mduduzi Lukeli commentating, and then you watch the video of the guys playing, like you probably have to be like, no, these Oaks can see.
Really?
Brilliant.
Really?
Brilliant. 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 The commentary is beautiful. It's like, voila! You know, that it's almost like the Xhosa commentary.
Yeah.
It's wow. When you know what? After that, Smuda came to me because they both are completely blind. And I was like, Smuda, how is it? And he just said, Coach, thank you. Thank you for making my dream come true. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you. This is the best feeling in my life. I never thought it's possible. Said, my boy, nothing is impossible. And then I sent it to the Oaks in Russia because we're in Russia for BRICS. And this is the Russians, right? And the Russians are smart Oaks, right? The Russians were blown away. They're like, how?
Exactly.
Right?
Because you know, the thing with commentating, right, is we all like predetermined by what we hear, because it's actually very hard to commentate if you think about it, because all you're doing is making a replica of what you've heard before. And also it's very difficult, and I suppose in this case, is to not just tell people what they're seeing, like the really good commentators are giving people another perspective. So I suppose they already like shortcut that. But commentating, like, don't be fooled, is not an easy thing to do at the best of times. It's a unique skill set.
It is. And it's very unique in the essence of the personality that you have. And I think that's what drives it, right? And you actually giving information. We all see the information, but you know, you're adding an ambiance to it. You're adding things to it as well. And the Oaks killed it. You must get those videos, because we then said, look, one of the things we want to do with blind football is to stream it. Want to make it accessible. Want people to watch it. You understand? No one does that with disability sports in this country. We said we're going to adopt AI and we're going to adopt what's happening and ensure that people have access to it. The guys in Kuruma. I mean, I get followed by so many blind kids on TikTok. It still doesn't make sense to me. And they tell me what I'm doing on TikTok. And I'm like, but Oaks, are you Oaks really blind? And sometimes, like, these Oaks go to stadiums to watch the derby.
Amazing.
There's things that we have a group where they do digital marketing. I don't know. There's just things they do that I don't know, like, doesn't make sense to me. So it blew, and we sent it to IPSA, and IPSA's like, we've never had anything like this in the world.
Amazing.
And my heart is that Africa must lead in innovation.
Yeah,
and that's the start of so many things that we are doing. And we're excited. So we now have the Ikasi Championships that are coming up. We're taking blind football into the townships, starting in places like Jeppes Town. And we're saying, guys, if you're blind and you want to play, it's for free. Organize a team, come by yourself. We are coming to you.
Amazing.
And we're raising that awareness, you know. And the future of blind football is have it in every province, have it in every area. And let Oaks just play football, man.
That's it. And I mean, so what could, I mean, I'm so inspired by what you're saying. You know, Working Title FC, we got listeners all over the place. What can we do? I mean, get the word out, spread the word, tell as many people about what's going on as possible. Is there anything we can physically do? Is there help needed, kit needed? Like, where can our listeners and our viewers play a part?
Look, there's so much that can be done. Look, when we have to play our games, we can only play once a month. We don't have a transport for that. A lot of the gents, we struggle with transport. But the guys are mobilizing. I mean, a simple thing, if someone can help with a kumbi from a monetary aspect of things, donating into the league, coming and making food, because we always have to hustle to just get catering for the guys, getting fruits, just getting a sandwich for the guys, you know. So maybe someone who's listening to this, Paulo, one of your listeners says, hey, look, I love baking or I love cooking. Come and cook for the gents, one of the games. That in itself. Maybe you've got fruits, maybe you've got vegetables, you know, maybe you've got water. You can bring that along. Maybe someone who's a medic. Man, we don't have the funds of 3,000 rands to get an ambulance. Please pull up and help us. You know, maybe you're physio. You can come and help the gents. Maybe you're saying, hey, look, I don't have all the technicalities and all the fancy things. You can be a marshal on the day. You know, help us with guiding the people so you become a guide on the day. You can help us with the administration of things, the scorekeeping of things. We always are in need of people. We've got drones, we've got technology. Maybe you're good at drone flying. Maybe you're good at marketing. You can help us to spread the word, get it out there. I'm saying this is open to everyone. We need all the help that we can get, the hands that we can get. And maybe you got an old pair, because some of the gents are playing barefoot. And you're saying, I just got an old pair of sneakers. Can I just donate? We'll receive that gladly. Or old kit. Those things would go very far.
Amazing, coach. Listen, to call you a coach, I feel, is to undermine you. I mean, they often say Ferguson and Pep Guardiola and those guys, you'll run through walls for them. I will run through across continents listening to you. I mean, you're such an inspiring person. And I'll tell you one of the things, and maybe from a selfish perspective, is that we kind of like got to a point with the show where, the soccer we see out there is hard to identify with anymore. It's about money, and it's about clicks, and it's about fame, and it's about greed. And you kind of ask yourself, why do I love football? I don't recognize it. Do I still love this thing? And then we come across stories like yours. We come across the fringes and go, that's why I love it, because it shouldn't stop us. Ronaldo not getting paid enough and going on strike. Like, I don't like that. But the stories you tell me is going, okay, tick box. This is why we love this game that we're involved in. And like you say, you guys are doing so much more. So, I mean, I'm so inspired by this conversation. I know our audience will be as well. This is going to go out to a worldwide audience, and we're just going to watch you guys go. I mean, I think there's no stopping what you have installed in these boys. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Paulo. Thanks for the platform and the opportunity. I mean, you just giving us a platform in itself is a big thing. We want to get blind football out there. It's a real thing. It exists. These young people are incredible. And for me, my heart is, if people can see blind kids being able to dribble, score, run with the ball, surely it means they can do more. And hopefully someone listening out there can say that, hey, man, maybe I'm in a company, maybe I'm doing something, and there's an opportunity to look at someone who's blind. I hope that this can be that platform, and just the awareness of to follow what we're doing, and maybe just change paradigms and perspectives of what people with disabilities can do. If we do that, that's a lot. So I want to say thank you to you, Paulo, for giving us the platform. It could have given anyone, and you are doing incredible work, my brother. And the initiative that you have to look at the positivity in communities, people don't look at that because it doesn't sell. Bad news travel fast. We're not controversial. We're not Chelsea. We're not Chiefs. We're just young fellows who want to make a difference and just love people and love football. And so I want to say big ups to you, man. You're a champ.